Today's podcast episode is sponsored by
Michael and Michelle Lassen, First State Bank Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender.
Visit us on our website at yourlakeloan.com. We want to be your home loan professionals, your lake lenders.
Thanks so much for tuning in to more of Season 6 with our Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast, a podcast created to help you grow both personally and professionally, to thrive with clear goals and visions, and to inspire. So whether you're a full-time resident here at Lake of the Ozarks or a visitor or hope to be either in the future, we know you're going to love this episode as much as we do. So today on the show, we're super excited to highlight a restaurant that has it all going on. With lots of history, an amazing menu, and options to stay on site, we know that this is a hot place here at Lake of the Ozarks. Here to share more about it are two new friends of mine, Mr. Scott Romano and Mr. Mark Spears with 1932 Reserve, and we also have Miss Natalie Whittle here joining us from the Reserve and Remax Lake of the Ozarks. So Scotty, Mark, and Natalie, thank you so much for being here today, letting me take some time to highlight the 1932 Reserve and just all the history here.
Well, thanks for having us.
We're excited.
Can't really tell if you guys are excited.
To hear what these guys have to say.
So guys, let's just start with telling our listeners just a little bit more about yourselves personally, and where you found the passion to do what you do. So Mark, let's start with you.
So I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri, born and raised there. I just spent my summers down at Lake of the Ozarks through college. So back in the day, like bar backing at Shooters when it was here, bartending at Topsider, and then I worked for the Barrett Brothers for working at Salty Dog, their dog days, and then opening Shorty Pants for them. And then moved to San Diego and was out there for about 12 years. Moved out there to see my beautiful, lovely wife, McCartan. We started our family out there. Out there, I worked for Kimpton Hotels and Restaurants, which is a small boutique hotels and chef-driven restaurants. And that's kind of where I went from, I think I cut my teeth in the restaurant business down here in like super fast casual. Mm-hmm. And then when I moved out there, I got into chef-driven, seasonality, like super high-end food and wines. And that's where I fell in love with wines and spirits. And so I was with Kimpton for a number of years, opened a couple restaurants for them. Did a little bit of traveling for them, and then helped Blue Bridge Hospitality, which is a hospitality group mainly located on Coronado Island with a steak chop house, a couple other concepts in the Liberty Public Market out there. So super high-end restaurants, great chefs working with them. And that's kind of where the passion came from. You see the passion like Scotty has for food and what he likes to do, and those are the type of people that I was involved with when I lived in San Diego. And plus the farms and the seasonality and the ingredients that you can source and like you just have at your fingertips out there, and the exposure to wines and whatnot in California, it really kind of pushes your passion forward if that's what you're into. So that really helped kind of springboard my career. And then after my wife and I started a family, the kids were getting a little bit older, so we thought, we wanted to move back to Kansas City, and then it just so happened that instead of Kansas City, we ended up down here. So
that's awesome. I'm glad that you guys ended up here.
Yeah, I think we are too. We've been back for 7 years now, I think. So, it was interesting to see her kind of come back to the lake area because she had come back. She had only been down as a kid, but they were way down the lake at like the 40 or 50 mile markers. So she never experienced the lake like I did as a young adolescent, I guess, to say the least. So, and now she's she's fitting now, and we love it, and we love the community down here. You know, it's a small town, but then in the summer it's kind of got the big town feel with all the people coming in town. We always get to catch up with friends and family down to visit, so you know, we love being back.
I love that. What about you, Scotty?
Oh, I come from a long line of Irish and Italian cops and firefighters, so I
Okay.
kind of went out of the box. I blame it on my dad because he was always cooking, and we grew up hunting, so we were always butchering animals and cooking and doing a lot of things together. But I started working in a pizzeria when I was a kid and washing dishes, and started cooking from there and fell in love and went to the College of America in Hyde Park, New York.
Oh, wow.
And from there, met a guy named Charlie Palmer. Has a lot of restaurants and different things, and I grew up with his company. Went to Wolfgang Puck for a while.
Wow.
Did a lot of things in LA with Wolfgang, and then eventually made it back to Charlie. But honestly, I've been all over. You know, from big cities of Vegas to a lot of time in New York City, LA, and as I got older, it seems like I keep going to smaller towns. And the latest, I was up in wine country in Healdsburg.
Oh, wow.
Very beautiful place to live, and I don't know, for a chef, a great experience. I mean, you have one guy that grows your tomatoes, one guy that you get olive oil off of, one guy does your mushrooms. Like, you work, you know, we would buy vegetables off my friend Jack, peel the fava beans, give the pods back to him, and he'd feed it to the pig that I was buying.
Wow.
So it was this awesome kind of culture up there, but the fires kind of, you know, the little town we were in, we got evacuated every year. The last year, my wife and I kind of said we were kind of done with it,
Yeah.
and we wanted to move to another, you know, she wanted to be near family, and I wasn't going to go back to Jersey, and we wanted to stay small, so her parents are here in Sunrise Beach.
Oh, okay.
So we moved here, and I tell you, we really love it here. I mean, I've bounced around a lot for Charlie, and it's the first time in my life I bought a home, so like we really,
That's
we're
amazing.
setting ground here, we're staying, so.
So what do you think you bring to the table as far as being an executive chef here? Like, paint me a picture of what it's like to be in your kitchen.
Well, on a Friday night, it's crazy. I'll tell you
I
that.
bet. I bet.
It's different out here. I mean, I there's a lot of different restaurants out here that are not as how to say from scratch. You know, our kitchen's from scratch. I mean, there'll be days that we'll do 500 covers on a Friday, and literally there's no food left. We're back in the morning, re-prepping everything, trying to get those doors open before 4 o'clock, and it's just the rush of it, you know. But it's all about your team and who are the people around you. So I mean, we have a great team. We got a gentleman, Rodney, downstairs, sous chef, great guy. You know, basically helps run the kitchen and everything. So it's like, again, it's about the team and everything. But it's also here. It's fun. Like, you know, I work for some other people that, you know, that you're, I guess, would be more of a kitchen manager, because it's like, here, this is what I want. I get to have a lot of creative freedom with Mark, and plus his background. So it's fun. Like when I want to taste things, whatever. So we build menus together.
That's
And then on top of it, we really get to have a lot of fun. We do our wine dinners. We really get to go out and out of the box of what people are normally used to around here and do some really fun things.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite thing about the restaurant business, both of you?
Kind of to piggyback on a little bit what he says, I mean, like, I think he'll undersell himself a little bit. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of like food culture in our country and like chefs coming from certain areas and having the pedigree, like the Lake's like extremely blessed to have Scotty here in the kitchen cooking and creating and doing what he loves, because you know the caliber of chef that he is, in any city in America, they'd be lining out the door to eat his food.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've got him here, you know, it's amazing. We're super ecstatic to have him with us. But back to what's the favorite thing about being in a restaurant? Like for me, I love the fact that no 2 days are the same. I got out of the restaurant business briefly for I think a year and a half or 2 years, and I was like in a cubicle, phone calls and emails, and I hated it. You know, like my wife will say I'm not a very good planner, because in the restaurant business, you can have the most impeccable plan ever.
Doesn't work.
Because I look at the reservation book and I've got 400 covers coming in. So you start mapping out, okay, this table is going here and this table is going to go here and these people are going to go here. And then within the first 20 minutes of service, it's completely blown up because someone's canceled, someone shows up with a 10 top, a server calls in sick, we run out of something else. So it's like you can spend 2 or 3 hours trying to plan your Friday night, and stressing out about it, and then it's all gone, cattywampus and pear-shaped 20 minutes into service. And then if you're not adaptable and able to, think on your feet and adjust and be willing to just make things happen, then it's not the business for you. But that's the kind of environment that I think I thrive in, and I really enjoy it. Like, it's a lot of high pressure, it's a lot of high stress, but and it's all about the team you put around you, and they've got the same motivation, same goals, same passions, and then it's just kind of fun to, at the end of the night, you sit down, you look at each other, you crack a beer open, and you're like,
that just happened.
That was crazy.
That was insane. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it again tomorrow. Well, it's like you said, sometimes even being a previous waitress myself, it does turn into like a rush, especially if you're like tackling just everything all at once. Oh my gosh. So what about you, Scotty? What's your favorite thing about the restaurant business?
Making people happy with food. It's something I've always enjoyed. I like creating things, and I'm a person like some of my recipes will take 2 to 3 days to make. So it's like you've been working so hard on this, or you're making this sausage and it took 2 days to grind it, then stuff it, and smoke it, or whatever, just anything, or even like doing whole animals and stuff, and then just seeing the reactions of people when they really enjoy it is a real pleasure for me. Like, I've always enjoyed it. But again, it's also with the relationships and working with people, of growing food, and stuff like that. Like, going back on the whole animals, it's one thing I love to do, like to respect the animal and use it from head to tail.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to have the respect for the stuff that you have in your hands and use.
I love that. So describe to me a little bit more of like the cuisine here and what guests can expect when maybe they come here to eat for the first time. Like, I've eaten here and it's amazing. Like, it's one of my very most favorite places. So, but for those who are listening that maybe haven't been here yet, what could they kind of expect from your menu?
Marcus talks better about
I think so. When we developed the concept, the idea, I think, sitting down with kind of the partners and trying to figure out what we wanted to do is, we're on the water, but most of the water restaurants are pretty fast casual, and it's what the lake was built on. It's what the popularity came from, where the restaurants, like the Backwaters and the Dog Days and Shady's and Horty, like all those places are what, I think that a lot of the tourism that comes down here is a good reason why they come down. Now, from a high-end, like sit-down, multi-course, expansive wine list, expansive bourbon list, farm-to-table type of menu, there's not much of that or any of that on the water. So we like the idea of, like, kind of coming from my background in California and doing the menu restaurant concept similar to that, and a place that you really, if you wanted to go on a date, you bring your boat, you come by car, whatever, like, it's on the water. It's kind of like transporting someone out of a city and putting them right on the edge of the lake, the Ozarks, watching the boats come in and out, but you don't feel like you're at a restaurant at the lake. And, I think with the food, just sourcing the best ingredients that we can, the best proteins that we can, trying to use as many local farmers. Like, there's some Mennonites and some people up in Versailles that they do amazing tomatoes.
Yeah, really good tomatoes.
Incredible mushrooms.
It's going to be on the new sea bass.
So we'll get to the sea bass later.
That's where I'm going next is the sea
There's
bass.
the sea. The only reason people listen to this thing is for the sea bass. What's going on with the sea bass this summer? What's going on with the sea bass and the mussels this summer? Once we get to that, they're going to turn the tune out.
I was
So
going to
save
say
that to the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off, let you finish, but I'm going to that next.
So we try and establish relationships with those guys. And then, I basically, when we first opened, I kind of wrote a mock menu of things I thought would go well, and things that I would like to see, some of my favorite dishes from throughout my career. And then we worked with a chef out of Indianapolis to create recipes and to create a menu. And this is all before we ever hired a chef. And then I was heavily kind of involved in that. And then once Scotty took over,
Everything changed.
He's the caliber of chef that here's the menu. Like, yeah, we'd like to keep the proteins the same, but that's just because they're standard on any menu. Your filet, your ribeye, salmon, sea bass, scallops, pork chop, pasta. They're all staples on a restaurant menu. like do what you want, go have fun. Like, so then he'll come back, he'll write something down and he'll go, hey, what do you think about this? Sounds awesome. And then he'll prep it out and then we'll taste it together. And then, and half the time I'm like, I think it needs this. And he's like, I was thinking the same thing.
That's
We'll just
awesome.
taste it till we tweak it until we both like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like he just runs with it and then we're like, shoot, let's taste it. And then we taste it and it's like, I mean, like I think we did a ramen this winter. What we do, probably 7 or 8 different broths till we finally got one that we like, just because it concentrates as it sits there, and so it's just a matter of.
Well, it's a matter of things too. Like speaking of that broth, like the first one was traditional Japanese. Like it really was traditional, and me and him loved it. But our clientele really didn't. Like they didn't get the concept of it. They kind of used to the one in the store. And I learned that at a younger age, it's you want to put things on the menu that you like, but I'm not in that dining room every night eating.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to write things that we love, but also our guests are gonna love. It's not about us. We're not dining there every night.
Yeah. So you have to, tend to them and try to come up with creativeness and menu items that work. So let's talk about that sea bass though. Okay. So it's back on the menu. It's better than ever. So what are some other favorite dishes that might be kind of top tier up there with the sea bass? What makes it so
sea bass
special?
right now is going to be changing in a few weeks. We're going to start rolling out our menu probably in a week here and start changing little by little going into the summer. As soon as he's done approving it, I have 3/4 of it done. But the sea bass is going to be come on kind of like heirloom tomato driven. We're going to take some cherry tomatoes and some really fresh shallots and garlic and slice it and kind of confit that together so it's a little like nice relish of confit on top. But we'll have our pork chop and we're gonna do a crab cake this year. That's gonna be good. Yeah, we're doing a nice crab cake. We got an awesome smoked salmon dip. We're smoking our own salmon. We have a big smoker here that we do a lot of different things on. There's a lot of good stuff coming. We're gonna have some fresh pasta. Every once in a while we'll run some specials with some different pastas and raviolis. Hopefully this year we will get to do our Japanese A5. We had some luck with that last year. We had a lot of fun with that.
Fine.
So those are all different things that like I said, it's every day's different. We wake up and like I just feel like cooking this today and see how it goes. So
Now, Scotty, because you cook here all day long, and do you ever take stuff home to your wife and just like, hey, try this? What do you think?
My wife actually cooks a lot at home.
Does she?
Yeah, she's a great chef. But it's like it's stuff you want to come home to. You want a meatloaf,
Wife cook meal.
yeah, meatballs and stuff. Like she's just very casual but good food.
I love that.
Most chefs I know when they get home, it's macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
My
ramen, cereal. I mean,
my favorite thing to eat is the 99-cent banquet microwave pot pies. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Hey, my kids like those too.
You get done. It's like it's like when you do anything. You get done working, you don't want to go home and do it.
I don't blame you. So I heard you guys enclosed the patio for the winter. So what did that entail? And then how did it end up working out? Like, is it actually warm in there when it's 30 degrees?
It's warmer on the outside than it is inside, even when it's below freezing outside.
Wow.
It just kind of sitting there this summer looking at. I mean, you're always looking at ways to expand the business. Just figure out, can I add more seats? Can I add another table? What can I do on the lower patio? Like last year, we added some seating and some like kind of lounge furniture, sectional couches down on like the bocce ball court area right on the lake, just to kind of hang out and have drinks and whatnot. And I just had some more poles, so we're gonna string some lights and do some other stuff down there as well this year. But in the wintertime, we were limited to, we're not a huge restaurant inside. We've kind of got two sides. We seat 75, 80 people, not including the bar. And so I kind of looked at it. I looked online, contacted a few people, and it was like one of those where we can, we'll just take some pictures and we'll send some stuff and you install it. And that didn't sound like fun to me. So I contacted a local company, Naughty Aft Covers, and they do a lot of marine covers, and he came out and lasers and everything else and shot it and did an amazing job. Great job, and got it up in a hurry and kind of stopped his production to get ours done early in the fall. And I mean, I moved the lounge furniture up, so we've got a couple fire tables up there, and then we've got a couple of just the two fire heaters, and we turn those on about 10 or 15 minutes before we open, and it's instantly 70 degrees plus
Oh wow.
in there, even when it's 28 degrees outside.
That's awesome.
Like what we do now is we open up the door to the restaurant, and you almost let the patio heat the restaurant.
Wow.
Because it's amazing how quick and how it holds temperature with just putting the canvas enclosure up.
I'm super excited about that, especially knowing that you can still come here and be comfortable as you're enjoying Scotty's amazing food. So, okay, summer's right around the corner. What are the new summer hours going to be? And then also tell me a little bit about the lunch menu.
So summertime, starting May 1st, we moved to 7 days a week for dinner. And then 2 weeks before Memorial Day weekend, we open Friday, Saturday, Sunday for lunch. For the weekend, 2 weekends before, and then the week before, and then starting Memorial Day weekend, we'll open 7 days a week for lunch.
Yay.
And that's what we've done the last few years. And then, at that point, it's 7 days a week. We open at noon for lunch, and we go from lunch from 12 to 3. And then we offer our happy hour menu only from 3 to 4. Happy hour actually goes from 3 to 5, but that's the only menu we offer from 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start offering dinner menu starting at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And I mean, we cook until the people are fed. I mean, it's like, to say we close at 9 o'clock or whatever. I mean, there's many a times we're cooking until 10:30 and whatever. It's just, it's kind of a suggestion during the summer. We've got people that come in right before we close, or we're still on a wait, or we're still seating people when technically we're, that may be the business hour. So we like to say we cook until we're closed and the people are fed, and we have drinks and the bar's open later than the kitchen until people are done having fun.
That's amazing.
Lunch menu, I mean, that's in the works.
In the works, yeah. We're gonna have looking at a French dip.
My fave.
Our turkey club is a really good one. Sourdough. We take turkey breast and brine it ourselves, and then paprika, salt, and roast it with avocado and garlic aioli, lettuce, tomatoes, onions. Our burgers very popular. We haven't decided yet, but we're talking about maybe doing a goober burger.
Ooh, that would be fun.
My wife had one. I love peanut butter on anything. She had one. She said it was amazing. So I haven't tried it yet. So it's still up in the air. But we're gonna have a nice salad. We have a blueberry salad with romaine and sweet onion vinaigrette with blue cheese and sunflower seeds. There's gonna be a nice filet tip salad on there. So it's gonna be a nice menu. But again, it's a menu that that everything is fresh, but it's got to be able to move. People want to come in and eat lunch and get back on the water. They don't want to be here for lunch for an hour and a half.
Right.
That's more of a dinner experience.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited about that club and that French dip. I know where I'm going to eat lunch this summer. So, Scotty, one more thing about you. So, I heard something amazing about you, and that was that you did some pretty awesome things with the School of the Osage. Can you tell me about that?
They're all good kids. So I got into teaching with them last year. So they have a culinary, one on a culinary class. I don't know exactly what you call it. I mean, it used to be called home ec when I was in school.
Yeah.
They do a thing called Pro Start they're involved in. And it's the front and the back of the house of a restaurant. And amazingly, they have to cook in 1 hour. They have to cook 2 desserts, 2 entrees, and two appetizers, 2 entrees, and 2 desserts.
Wow.
In 1 hour, no electricity, only using 2 gas burners.
Oh,
and camping
wow.
burners. So there's another chef in town, Pierre, that we became buddies, very good together, and we started coaching them. And they've never placed before, and last year we got second.
Yay!
And this year we got first. So we're May 2nd, they're off to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
for the Nationals. So we've been practicing on and off, and it's fun. And they did a really awesome menu this year. It's amazing what they do from
Menu's
scratch.
exciting. So we're actually, to piggyback on that, April 2nd, I believe, that's Sunday. So we're gonna have the kids come in and cook.
Oh,
here.
cool.
So I have a link, created a link on Eventbrite for Osage Pro Start, and it's gonna be their winning menu that they created. They're gonna come in and they're gonna prep it, and then we've worked with a lot of the local food purveyors that they're donating all the food for that dinner, and then you buy your ticket, and 100% of the proceeds of the ticket are going to go back to the kids to help with all their travel and all the fees it's going to take to get them to Washington D.C.
That is so awesome.
For the thing. So we're really excited to have them and just kind of help push that passion for food and hospitality. So it's
I would
pretty
love to
exciting.
see them in action with those limitations. Like
It's
that has to
amazing,
be
like,
super
they do,
cool.
Like the first course was a custard, and I got them a little camping stove I bought on Amazon. It was funny. I have so much cooking stuff, and it showed up at the house, and my wife was like, "No more cooking stuff. It's for the kids." And she's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh, if I just say it's for the kids, I can buy more." Like this is good. Like they make noodles for the ramen from scratch. I mean, they're making Japanese pancakes. This poor girl sits there and whisks egg whites to stiff peaks for like 35 minutes. I feel bad for her, but she does it with a smile every time.
Oh wow, that's cool.
It's so amazing.
So it's good. I wanted to say something to jump back to, we were talking how busy the restaurant gets.
Yeah.
I was explaining, we just went to this event over the weekend. I was explaining to a few of my chef friends that, you don't understand. They're like, well, I was like, listen, we've all worked in restaurants that people show up on the subway, in cab, they pull up in a car. You've never experienced it when 3 boats pull up and 40 to 50, 60 people are walking up in one shot.
Yeah, him
And
was.
you're just looking out the window, you're like, oh God, here we go.
Yep, here we go.
Like it's unlike nothing I've ever seen in my life.
I could imagine that. Yeah.
It's something. It's definitely an experience to see all the boats and craziness out here. I mean, it makes you thrive even more in the kitchen because it's just about to get crazy. It's gonna go, as Mark says, we're about to go on 2 wheels.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say with the boat traffic here and then the car traffic that way. I mean, you probably don't know which way is coming as far as people, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so I want to switch to the Lofts now, Natalie. So, talk to me about the history of this building and the design that came out of this.
Well, this building, it was built in 1932, hence the name. And so it was right at the end of when the dam was being finished.
Okay.
So tourism had already begun, but it was continuing. And this was originally a hotel that had many little tiny hotel rooms, and all of those tiny hotel rooms had a tiny bathroom.
Oh wow!
And then down below, it was a restaurant. They served food years ago, and then for I think since the 70s, it was just a family that lived here, and their caretaker made root beer in the basement. So I was actually swamped when we acquired the property, which Jason had been showing Sean this building for about 6 years before, and he just had this concept, and finally they were ready to do it. So they gutted it. Sean had the original concept of the restaurant and had the lofts drawn the way they ended up, but it was 3 floors of a lot of hotel rooms.
Wow. So tell me more about the partnership and how that works.
The partnership's my favorite part. It wouldn't be what it is with any one less person. So there's Mark being a partner in the restaurant. It's amazing what he's been able to do. None of us could do that. It's incredible. And the team he's built, bringing Scotty in and his whole team. He's got some people that have been with him from day one. Still, everyone loves working for Mark. And I love seeing Mark and McCartan. McCartan's super involved too with the team.
I did see that.
It's awesome to see
Cool.
what they're building there. And then there's 6 of us, 3 couples in the Lofts. And it's just awesome to see it come together. We really didn't know going into it. We bought it. We started doing it. And like I said, Sean had the original concept with the Lofts and the restaurant. And the guys did a couple vision trips for the restaurant and how they wanted that to look. And I loved doing the design work. We can get more into that in a minute. But Sean and Ashton both had previous rental experience.
Oh, okay.
So that was valuable, and Ashton still, she deals with VRBO and finance and some of the finances. and they knew to label everything. Like when it was time to stock the kitchens, you know, they knew what to do and put all the labels, and all of that was amazing. Heidi did our social platforms, so she got that going, and really the restaurant created its own buzz, but she did a lot of work in the very beginning, getting that out and doing some marketing. And Joey with the lawn company, his guys did beautiful work all over the grounds and on the exterior, and built the walls and all the things. And Jason, he's our business guy, so he knows real estate and is so comfortable with, you know, as far as the investment goes. So really, all 6 of us, it was cool. When we got into things, I was like, oh my goodness, we're doing this.
Well, it sounds to me like everybody like had a role to play and then played that role just perfectly, which is really cool.
I mean, it was, you know, during construction, we were, I mean, here every day. I mean, I've never spent more time driving a skid steer up and down with a bucket full of rocks, because I mean, the patio used to just fall straight down to the level of the seawall, so like that was all backfilled the same where the pool was. So it was just like constantly in motion, moving things, swinging. Just, I mean, you kind of get a crash course in a little bit of construction for what you're able to help out when you can, which was, it was fun. It was really enjoyable to work with everyone, to, you know, to see the project come from what it was, you know, to what it is now. And it's fun to talk about because there's so many elements that are still here from the building, from its, I mean, like that brick column that you see over there. I mean, that's original.
Ben and I were noticing like a little coin that was like in the.
There's like a coin. There's also, if you look up, I think closer to that to the right, there's like this blue marble that's stuck into the mace. So like back then, a lot of the masonry people that were putting those walls together would have like stuck a little something in it that you can kind of see. And like in the restaurant, there's some of the design features like the front of the bar and like the hostess stand. So we pulled up the flooring, and then we pulled up the subfloor from underneath of all the hotel rooms, and we were able to save some of that to use. And it still has like, one of them has the Franklin job written in cursive on the board. Some of them have stamps of like the lumber yard where they came from. And then we used the flooring, and we used that like to do the back bar. And you can see like the subfloor would have been used to like frame out the concrete foundation and stuff like that. So, you know, I think
Is that still like shuffleboard numbers on the
floor?
floor?
The shuffleboard numbers on the floor from like the basement used to be like the dining hall, like Natalie talked about, and it was also like kind of the recreation room for the hotel or for the lodge back then, it being at the very first lakeside lodging here at Lake of the Ozarks. So.
So getting back to you, Natalie, you said that you were the lead designer for all 6 of the lofts. So how did you do that, and what was that like? Because I mean, I tell you all the time that you're gonna decorate all of the properties that I own one day.
It's crazy.
So.
It was essentially like building 6 houses.
I can imagine.
At once, and I may or may not have been in a ball on the floor a time or 2. And Jason would say, "Why don't you just make them all the same?" And I would look at him like, there is no way I could make them all the same. I knew they all had to have their own personality and just, you know, be different. And the goal the whole time was for when we did get people in here, for them to love it so much, just to, you know, just to feel good in it, love it, want to come back, and want to tell their friends. So that was the goal. That was my goal. So I knew, and you know, even down to cabinet hardware, every detail. And it was a dream project. I got to work with 2 amazing craftsmen, Kevin Carter and Steve Schultz. They were amazing, and so that was just fun. And my favorite is being on the construction site. Thomas Construction was our general. They were amazing with the old building, to know exactly what to do with it, and their whole crew is incredible. So, but I love being on the construction site, working with the experts, electricians, plumber, and figuring out solution.
Cherry pink hard hat.
I can believe that.
I
Yeah.
did have a pink hard hat, and everyone made fun of me about all my different whites that we can use in different spaces, and the best paint color of all time, which
Cheating
is
heart.
called Cheating Heart. So,
I mean, how many people do you think would remember the paint color
I think
3
a lot
years
of people
later?
actually, it's just kind of memorable.
But I mean,
don't
it's
know.
just it's a lot of places.
It's a good one.
I mean, kudos to Natalie. Every unit. I mean, every time I bring someone, because we'll do sometimes tours if there's not a lot going on and we've got time and there's no one in a certain unit and someone would like to see it. And every time you bring someone up to any of the units, they're just immediately blown away with the attention to detail and the design, and Natalie she knocked it out of the park. They're all amazing.
This is the first time I've been in one, and when we walked in, I was coming down the long hallway. I was like, "Man, this is bigger than what I thought it was gonna be."
The
Like,
least exciting unit
wow.
of all of them.
I love it. I love it. See,
But
I could live
do
in
love
here.
It. I do love it. Each of them has its own element, and
That's the floor, the old floor from
That's
the
yeah,
cool.
that's some of the old floor, like Mark was saying. So the cool thing, all of the old, all of those tiny hotel rooms and bathrooms made for a lot of doors and hardware. And one thing I loved, I'd show up on site, and the guys were doing all the demo, and they'd have these gorgeous French glass grid doors. And they would be like, "Do you want to use these?" And I'm like, "Yes, we're using them." And one time I showed up, and they had these gorgeous brass lanterns from the original building, and they'd be like, "Do you want to use these?"
You're like, "Yes."
So those are hanging over the bar. Just amazing. And all the doors. I had a guy out of Chicago who said, "We'll help you finish this." Well, at that time, it was impossible to find laborers. And all the generals were telling me, "No, we cannot find people." So I was out finding people to help us finish the project with paint. And this guy out of Chicago, he showed up and said, "We'll help you finish this." And he knew, because of what he had worked with, all old buildings from before in the city, he knew how to set all of those old doors.
Oh, cool.
And did a lot of trim work for us. And so just all of that was amazing. And like Mark mentioned before, it's few and far between here at the lake to find exposed concrete and steel beams and brick in the interior. So all of that was just a dream.
Well, I love it. You've done an amazing job. So, real quick before we run out of time, but you have some pretty cool things coming up. So tell me about like the Reserve Lofts Concert Society and maybe anything else that's cool that's upcoming.
Our concert society with the Lofts, we are an official lodging partner with Ozarks Amphitheater.
Oh, cool.
So what that means is we have shuttle service to and from, which is hard to find here. Wow. Sometimes even hard to find an Uber or Lyft. So we have shuttle service to the concert. Come, have dinner at the restaurant, stay in the Lofts, have a drink before you go, and have shuttle service to and from.
That's great.
So,
well, if someone was interested in staying at the Lofts or just connecting with the Reserve or anything, so how would they reach out to get more information or make reservations? Or
we have a beautiful website, 1932reserve.com or thereservelofts.com. It will show you each unit, and that's just the best place to go.
Okay.
3D tour is on there, pictures, because every unit has, we won't get into it now, but every unit has different amount of bedrooms, and we can accommodate pretty much, you can rent the whole building for your really large group, and the restaurant is there, so it's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, for us, the easiest way to get a hold of the restaurant, like the same website, it's got all the tabs that look through menus. You can make reservations on a link on our website. Facebook's probably the most up to date with events, features, wine dinner information. You can message us on there or give us a call, and we can usually, that's if you're having trouble making a reservation, shoot us a message or give us a call, and we're usually able to help you out.
Awesome.
If you can't get, then come in and hang out at the beautiful tiki bar outside.
Yeah.
Enjoy some drinks.
I mean, I'm gonna come and hang out with you in the kitchen, Scotty. I mean, you hit me with the French dip and the club, and so you're my favorite person. Okay, so rapid fire to finish it up. This is how I end every show, just to each one of you. So first question is, what is an area of growth, either personally or professionally, that you want to kind of experience or do better with?
Personally, patience in all aspects of my life.
That's a good one.
Between my children, my wife, employees, guests. I mean, I think patience is something I can work on big time.
What about you, Scotty?
I don't know. Spending more time with my wife.
There you go. Yeah. Maybe cook for
I mean,
her.
that's honestly one of the biggest things that when we came here, and it is becoming a reality. You know, my last few jobs, I did nothing but work.
Yeah.
Here, you know, we get it done, but you know, we get some freedom, and
That's
I
good.
get to spend a lot of time with her, so it's a big thing.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
What about you, Natalie?
Oh my goodness, the same. I'm working like crazy. I'm loving my adult children. I also am finding I really love 3 kids.
Yeah.
Having 3 kids at home is a little more sane, but I want more time, and that's on me to make that time. You know, I want more time communicating with my 3 that aren't in the home anymore, and because it's my favorite thing.
I love that.
I love it.
Okay, so where do you feel like you're currently thriving?
Like from the restaurant, like professional in the restaurant.
Personal or
I mean, I think our kind of ingenuity and creativity in the restaurant is something that we do really well. I think we're constantly trying to advance, whether it be a new dish, kind of trying to stay ahead or on top of the trends when it comes to the beverage program. Madison Home does a really good job of trying to keep up with that. I think that's where we thrive. So I mean, I think we hopefully continue to stay ahead on top of and ahead of the trends in the restaurant.
What about you, Scotty? Thriving.
Restaurant wise, kind of like Mark's saying, just thriving like the restaurant of like changing dishes all the time, and you know, it's not being bad. There's a lot of restaurants around here that just probably have the same menu for 6
Every
years.
time, yeah.
You know, I really thrive in working and you know, and the guys in the kitchen really getting like involved now. It's like I've already shown them in the last year ingredients I don't think they've ever seen before in their life. Some of the purveyors think I'm lying when I tell them I need this, but they find it. They're like, you're playing around me. Does that really exist? I'm like, no, I really do need fermented black beans. Like, you got to find them. But business wise, yeah. Personal wise, I'm really thriving honestly in my new home. I never had a home. I got plenty. I got some property. I got my own fishing pond, my own barn. I'm excited.
That's awesome. What about you,
I
Natalie?
love that. I'm on a health kick right now. I am getting really close to 50. Yeah, I'm like have to get a grip on some things. So
Well, you look 30, just so you know.
Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you. Not, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, and I told Mark put us down for Tuesday's wine dinner, but I'm actually not having a drink for 75 days.
Oh, good
So
for
it
you.
is strong, yeah.
This is it's gonna be interesting because we have a lot of social events, like that's what we do, and work stuff. And I'm like looking at my calendar, and I'm gonna do it,
You're
and
gonna
I'm
have a meeting
gonna
in the
feel
summer like
great.
that. Good for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you ever need some motivation, I'm on about 6 months sober.
Oh
so,
my gosh!
yeah.
For you.
What?
yeah.
No way!
Yeah,
Oh my
you can do it.
gosh.
I got a
Yeah.
special
Amazing.
occasion
Hello.
rule, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Hey,
I saw her
good
thrive
for
at
you.
pickleball this
Oh, there
past
you go.
weekend. She was pretty incredible.
That was so fun. That's another thing about our partners. We all just did spring break together,
Oh, fun, yeah.
and we're all still friends.
And we're still friends. Okay, last one. What inspires you?
I mean, there are multiple things. I think my beautiful kids, you know, I think they inspire me and encourage me to be better. You know, my wife too. I mean, I work a ton. I'm gone. I miss holidays. I miss birthday parties. I miss a lot of stuff. But, you know, I know that what I'm trying to do, it's for them. You know, it's for them long term. So, you know, they inspire me a ton. And I mean, I think in the restaurant business, inspiration comes from our guests. I mean, if you think about being in the restaurant business as a chef, as a owner, as a bartender, as a busboy, anyone, like, we're a part of a lot of people's special occasions, big moments. I mean, we're a part of engagements, weddings, wedding rehearsal dinners, retirement parties, you know, anniversaries, you know, so we get to play a key role in many of strangers that are now, you know, considered really good friends. They're some of their pivotal moments in their lives. So, you know, that's kind of the inspiration for me in this business, is like getting to play a role, you know, in a key moment for a lot of people that I never knew that are friends now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Put me down for around October for my little girl's 16th birthday.
There you go.
I'll bring her here. What about you, Scotty?
Honestly, mine would kind of sound like Mark's. I mean, my wife, 100%. She's my best friend, and food-wise, it's just creating new things. You know, I think, you know, especially when you're in different places. I've cooked all over. You know, you cook one way in Dallas, and then you move to wine country in California. So you go from a case of butter and 4 cases of cream in your kitchen a week to you don't even have that. You got olive oil. Yeah. You know, so it's just doing different things and cooking, and what drives me is like learning all the time, learning new things that I can bring into myself and then show other people. And hopefully some of the guests that aren't used to, you know, eating certain things, you open that door for them. So
That's definitely what I thought the first time I ate here. I'm not gonna lie, I looked at the menu and I was like, well, I've never heard of that before, but I'm gonna try it.
well, I tell you, there's a few menus in the beginning I wrote, like for instance, it was an arancini, and I wrote rice ball, and he's like, why don't you write arancini? I was like, because nobody's gonna know what it is.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, they're not gonna know unless you tell them. So put arancini.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you guys. I love it.
What about you, man?
My husband, definitely. He's been a public guy, but I see the real guy at home, and he doesn't just talk the talk; he walks the walk. And I'm glad I can say that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but I've seen Mark and McCartan in action. They're an amazing team. And I would say my friends inspire me, the people we're doing life with, because, you know, it's real life. It's not always easy. It's not always perfect, but we're doing life together. So
That's because your husband played for the best football team ever, but I'm just not, you know. Giants, baby.
Giants.
Giants.
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah, there we go. From Kansas City.
There you go.
Well, Grow, Thrive, Inspire listeners, we could not be more thankful to Mark, Scotty, and Natalie for being here and walking us through the reserve, showing us around, letting us come and just invade this place, and letting us see a lot of the history that makes this place one of the new Lake's favorite restaurants. We have more episodes coming, so tune back in on Wednesdays and like and subscribe to all of our channels. You can find us everywhere: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the places online. So check us out. And big thank you to our sponsors, Michael and Michelle Lassen with First State Bank Mortgage, equal housing lender. You can catch them at yourlakeloan.com. And remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire. And we'll catch you next time.